Hi everyone, Diana here with messages and predictions for the week of May the 6th to the 12th. Well, thank you all for coming back, for telling your friends about me, for finding me, and thank you for those of you who have just joined us. We're so happy to have you. What we're going to do today, what we do in Soul Messages is we talk a little bit about what may happen this week, but more interesting to me is how we can take care of ourselves and build a better world. So we only look at predictions basically to keep us safe and just kind of give us some idea of what's going on. And then we get into how can we take better care of ourselves. And we always get a message from my spirit guide, which is Philip. And this is an oracle book, and each page has a wisdom on it. So we'll get a wisdom from Philip later on in a few minutes. But what I want to talk to you about today is one of the ways that I think is one of the best ways of helping us on our spiritual journey and as we go through life. We are in a most difficult time in our world right now, and that's not going to get easier for probably close to another year or more. Maybe another 18 to 22 to 24 months are going to be pretty rough, and it's escalating. So we can expect a lot more upset between now and into September. So the summer's not going to be the easiest summer that we've experienced, but it is what it is. And I do not in any way advocate the lack of keeping in touch with the world. I think most of us have already lived our lives as monks or recluses or nuns, or those places where we spent our lives on the mountainside or in an ashram. And doing that, we've come back into this life at this period of time that we may help build a newer world of greater love, compassion, and kindness for all beings, included the four-legged one who's right here. You may hear her panting, or you may hear her wagging tail hit against a chair. Hopefully she won't knock over the tripod. She's been known to bend it a little bit. But Daisy's right here. And she's going to go over and settle down now on her bed. I think we have a responsibility to recognize we are both human and spiritual. And our spiritual self is pure love. But our human self feels pain. We recognize grief. We know what heartbreak is. We know what physical pain is. And I don't want to deny that. And I think if we deny that, we're losing compassion. We're losing kindness for others. And that's not what love is. Love is recognizing all human emotion and not getting caught in it, but certainly not ignoring it. And if my neighbor is hurting and I ignore that and say, oh, just get over it, or raise your vibration to a higher level, I'm being cruel. I'm not being kind and loving. So one of the things that I think we have to do as human beings in order to become more of allowing our spiritual self to work through us is to do those acts and those processes that help us heal. Not easy work we do, but I think it's necessary. One of the ways that is one of my favorite is a labyrinth walk. And you can see over my shoulder here, I've put out a labyrinth for us. This particular labyrinth this is a finger labyrinth. You actually walk it with your finger and follow the pattern. And this is one of the oldest. This was the Crete labyrinth. It was found on the Isle of Crete. And it was also put on the floor of the cathedral, the great cathedral in Chartres, France. And it's on the floor of a cathedral in San Francisco and in many, many places. In my backyard, I have a different form of a labyrinth. I have a 7 circular labyrinth, and so you walk in 7 circles and stay in the center, and then you walk out 7 circles. That's a copy of the very ancient Celtic and some Native American tribes. That's the labyrinth, 7 circles. It doesn't matter which labyrinth you walk, whether it's the one from Crete or the one from the Celtic Isles. A labyrinth is a very sacred walk, and it's not any religion. It doesn't belong to any religion. Labyrinths are found all over the world, in ancient paintings, or carvings. It's found in Greeks and all over, just all over. So it doesn't belong to a religion, and that's part of the beauty of it. It belongs to all religions and all people, to my knowledge. What we do when we walk a labyrinth is when we walk in, we look at those things before we walk in. In the labyrinth at my home, there's a pine forest, and it's a pine alley, I should say. And we walk down the pine trees are on both sides, and we walk down this cathedral of pines, and we come to the entrance. And the entrance in my labyrinth faces the east. And so we walk in to the labyrinth. And right before we walk in, of course, we're going to say a prayer. And in that prayer, we're going to look at and ask for guidance as to what we need to change. What are our patterns that we need to change? And then as we walk into the labyrinth, we're releasing those patterns, just giving them over to Spirit, to God, to angels, to whatever higher power we envision. And as we give over that lack of this or that anger or that fear, whatever it is we give over, we can feel it, physically feel it, if we're sensitive. And we may not feel it the first time we do this, but I can physically feel that I'm trying to let go of, actually leaving my physical body as well as my spirit and my emotional being. You know, I walked the labyrinth the other morning, which is why I wanted to do this, talk to you about it today. And it was so powerful. I hadn't walked for a few months, which is unlike me, but it just wasn't time for me to be walking it. So I went out and I walked the labyrinth. And when I get into the center, I like to acknowledge the 4 directions: east, south, west, and north. We can also acknowledge the Mother Earth, the Father Sky, and then we can acknowledge the inner energy as well, the inner self. That would be the 7. And when I was walking out, and when we walk out of a labyrinth, we take on, in the middle of the labyrinth, in the center of the labyrinth, we allow ourselves to just feel the beauty of the Spirit. We allow ourselves to feel our own inner being and the love that is all there is. And I've had people tell me when they walk into the labyrinth, they felt so heavy, their feet felt so heavy they could barely make it to the center. But on the way out, we take on those new beautiful patterns of love, of greater love, of if we're working with prosperity, we would let go of lack on the way in and receive prosperity on the way out. If we're looking for greater love, we would let go of those old patterns that push love away and welcome those new patterns that welcome love in. So whatever it is we're working on in our life, the labyrinth will actually physically repattern us. And when I say repattern, I'm talking about it will change our brain waves. And change those brain waves, we change it how we look at things. As we change our perspective, our whole world can change. So this is just one way of taking care of yourself through these tumultuous times. Because, my friends, you're not just the followers, you're the leaders. Or you wouldn't be watching this video. You may not yet be ready to recognize that, but believe me, you will. So I recommend labyrinths. They're all over the internet. You can make your own. Like I say, in my backyard, I have a 7th spiral labyrinth. This particular labyrinth is a little bit more difficult to make, but you can get together with a group. You can put them in parks, put them in your backyard. Get a finger labyrinth if you have none other. I have some other labyrinth stories, so I'll let you. I won't take up your time with this video, but I will let you go to. I think it's winter. I think it was winter solstice that I walked a labyrinth and told some different stories about walking labyrinths. One in Bath, England, and different places around the country and the world. Anyway, I will put the link to that below. The labyrinth is one way to help us move deeper into the truth of who we are, love. And believe me, with what's coming up over the next several months, we're going to need that. It's important to take care of ourselves so that we can help take care of the world and move the world into a greater place of love and less division. Let's see what Philip has to say. Think left or right, because we have a different wisdom on every page. And then we just kind of flip through, or we just kind of say this is where we should open. So ready? Here we go. I'm getting, okay, that's where we're going to stop for today. And I think we've heard this before. I'm thinking left, by the way, but I'm also going to read right. And it's really what we were just talking about. So I might like for another message as well. Excuse me, as well. But the left page says, much greatness has come through adversity. Much greatness has come through adversity. You know, all creation stories tell us that the transformation, the new world, the new order, the new story always comes out of chaos. And so far in our world, that's proven to be the new story comes out of chaos. I'm wondering, why does it have to? And I'm thinking it doesn't. I'm thinking the new story can come out of love. The reason it comes out of chaos is because we tend to pull against ourselves, and we butt up our heads individually as well as collectively, and we say, no, I don't want to move into the new. I really do, but I don't want to give up all of this. So we're always pushing and pulling. To move into the new, we have to make changes. We have to perhaps give up something we don't think we want to. And mostly what we're giving up are old belief systems, old ideas that at the time may have kept us safe, but no longer work. On the right-hand page, it says, there's more, there's more. And I'm going to look at that, there's more, as there's more greatness, not just adversity. But yes, there is more adversity. But I am feeling that we need to get another message this day. And so we're just going to see where it stops. And I'm getting right, by the way. Intuition reaches into the unknowable and allows you to know that which logic cannot perceive. Intuition reaches into the unknowable and allows you to know that which logic cannot perceive. You know, as a psychic medium, if I lived on logic, I couldn't do what I do. As a poet, as a writer, I do need to bring some logic into my life. As a human being, we need to have a balance of both. My friends, balance is going to be important this week. If you feel out of balance, if you're feeling stressed, you're out of balance. If you're feeling life isn't fair, you're out of balance. If you're feeling anything other than everything is okay, life is probably out of balance. If you're feeling anything other than this is, if you're just feeling this, life is out of balance, because life does this. It moves up and down. And Daisy's right here telling us so, aren't you, Daisy? But as it moves up and down, we don't go crazy. We stay here while our life moves up and down. All right? Enjoy the week, my friends. Enjoy your life and take care of yourself so you can help take care of the world. Daisy and I love you. We thank you for being with us today. The kitties love you. Daisy's going to go play with some friends when we finish here. Some other two-legged and four-legged friends. So thank you for being with us. Thank you for accepting our love. Thank you for loving us. And most of all, thank you for loving yourself.